Nancy Kowalik, your South Jersey Main Street real estate agent, and today we are on site at a wonderful smelling place. I'm just dying as I come in here.
Right?
A place called the Cake Boutique. I'm here with Alexandra Benas, who is the visionary behind this place, and it looks as good as it smells, as good as it tastes.
Thank you.
I remember being in here day one going, yeah, cake pops, right?
Right? I know.
So much. But what always interested me, I mean, like I remember, being in a local diner, right?
Yes.
Harrison House Diner, which is your family business, and seeing the most magnificent gingerbread houses.
Yes.
Like they belong to the White House. Kind of just spectacular.
Yeah.
And that was all you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that kind of started because I've always loved being in the kitchen, and I've always loved art. Now, this is way before this was even on my scope.
Okay.
This wasn't even a thing that I thought I would ever do.
Right.
I thought I would always be in the diner, working in the diner, in the family business, taking it over.
Of course.
But I love the idea of building something from scratch, like a gingerbread house, and thinking of all the candies that you can use. And then what we started to do was, because people loved it so much, we would sell raffle tickets and donate the proceeds to like different charities. And we would make like a couple $1,000s. And then literally whoever won would get that gingerbread house. And we did that for a few years. And it was cool. It would take forever, but it was cool to kind of be able to do some art in a sense, and go from there.
That kind of kick-started more.
Yeah, absolutely. So after college, I decided to go to culinary school because I just figured it can't hurt to learn the basics of a kitchen. My brother had gone for just culinary, Constantine, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to go in for pastry because I love being in a kitchen. I like baking, and I want to be able to use my art. My art mind. And again, still had no intention of opening a bakery at all. I was like, I'm going to put this towards the diner and the knowledge there. And then I went, and then I graduated, and people would ask me, like, are you going to open a place? And I would still say, nope, I'm not going to do it. You can see me at the diner.
Right?
Yeah. And I always love telling this story because it just warms my heart. But so my dad would always be like, I think you should do it. I think you should open a bakery. Like, you're so good. And I'm like, no, Dad. Like, I don't think so. Like, I'm happy here. And so one day he was like, let's go for a ride. And I'm like, okay. So we get in the truck, and it was a very short ride from the Harrison House to the house that is the bakery, the Cake Boutique. Which we had owned for years. My dad had bought it as a rental property. Oh gosh, the diner's been there for 36 years, so probably 25 or so years ago. And we go inside, and it's this house itself is over 100 years old. So it's an old house. So going in, and it was just like, oh God, what am I looking at here? And we actually walked into like this room right now, and my dad literally said, "You really can't see a bakery here?" Wow. And it was like in that moment, I saw this wall. I saw like an accent wall, and I was like, oh crap, we're gonna do this whole thing. And I was like, yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
A little shove, mush, right out. There you go.
And my whole family was like, yes, this needs to happen. Like, we're all here, we'll all help. And you'll see my brothers come in and get their little treats. My younger brother Mike, he'll come in and walk into the walk-in and grab frozen cake pops, and then he'll walk in here and just with like a full mouthful and just like,
I love it. Listen, I feel less guilty because it's like one bite. Of course, if you stop at one bite, it's fine, but that doesn't always work. I'm sorry, but I love that. So your father just kind of shoved you out there.
Yes,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
And then my mom, who is way even more artistic than I am, was just like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this. And then we just started designing and all that, and it is what it is now.
It's got such a great, almost like boardwalky feel. Like the property itself. It's fun, it's vibrant, which matches your personality, my love. I mean, it's just, of course. I mean,
we've lived in town for, my parents still live in the same house, so it's they moved here in 1988.
Wow. Okay.
And so growing up here, it's a farmer's town, and over the years, there was not a lot of things here. My little brother wasn't born yet, and my dad would have to drive 20 minutes to get diapers.
Yes.
And I always remember saying, like, I want a cute place that you can just, like, it's a little pop of, like, happiness, sweetness. You can grab gifts, you can grab treats.
Yes.
Like, some place in New York. That was kind of my, idea. So that's...
It's awesome. So there's cake pops, and there's Cupcake of the Month.
Yes, we do Cupcake of the Month, Cupcake of the Week. Right now we're doing love showcasing local farmers because we have so many amazing ones.
We do.
And that was something that I kind of brought on from my dad because so many places don't know that, like, you know, Jersey diners are infamous or famous for the farm to table before it was a thing. Yes. You know, they get the crates from the farmers and literally would pick it and come to the diner and drop it off. And I was like, well, I want to do that here too because the produce is amazing. The peaches
so cool.
and things like that. So there's a few cupcakes that we will not do unless it's the local produce. So once the peaches are done, then you can't get them till next year, which I think is really cool.
It is. Yeah. Limited edition.
Limited edition. Yeah.
I love it. And it's always fun coming in here. Like the happiness is just overwhelming. I see sharks over there now. So we'll take some shots and show off some things. But it is the macarons.
Yeah.
I mean, and then there's gifts. You have like some fun cards. So you can come in here, which I've done on occasion. You're like, you know, and so it's just grabbing a cupcake for a friend real quick and a card. And a gift. And a little, like there's just all sorts, and everybody's always smiling.
Here's the thing. I always think of it as a way, like, you're going to come in and you want to be around, like, even if you're having a bad day. We all have bad days. Every single
cake
one
can fix everything.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
But you know what? All it takes, and I learned this from being in the diner, is like when you smile at somebody, it is infectious. Like you can be having a bad day and somebody goes, hey, how are you? And it just, boom, it changes their mind. So if we can add a little bit of that to the mix, then we're doing good.
I love it. Hard not to smile when you smile. 100%. So tell me about, like, so you obviously do custom cakes, you do bridal cakes, you do everything. What does the next 5 or 10 years look like for you? Like, what are some aspirations
That's such a good question. So always just kind of being one step better than we are now, obviously. We have a few venues that we are like the wedding cake makers of, which is, or like preferred vendors. So I'd love to kind of build on that a little bit more. Would love to get into kind of like shipping and delivery and things like that. We started doing it before the pandemic, and then that happened and it was like, gotta stop and focus on everything in here. So I'd love to kind of get into that a little bit more. And then also just kind of expanding our social media, I think is great because it's cool to be able to touch people. My cousin who lives in Greece was like, what happened to your tree? How did that? But I was like, that's just so fun.
Wow, how
somebody in Europe is like,
can you touch it here? Yeah, absolutely. And you do like, have I seen like cake decorating parties? Like
so yeah, we started out doing them. We've kind of slowed down, mainly because our wedding business has kind of like grown.
Taken over?
Yeah. Okay. So we used to always do them on Sundays when bakery was closed because it's hard to do it when we're open because everybody's running around like crazy.
Yeah.
So that's something we're kind of stepping away from a little bit.
Got it.
Just because it doesn't.
Listen, it's a business and it's more. It's organic, right?
Yes.
So you're figuring out what your niches are.
Totally.
Which is awesome.
Yes, and it was great when we did it because we got to meet so many people, and every once in a while, a kid who's had a birthday party here like 10 years ago, they come in and they're like 19, and I'm like, oh my God, how is this possible?
How long have you been here?
10 years.
Oh my gosh,
we just celebrated our 10th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Thank you, yeah.
I love it.
Doesn't feel like 10 years.
No, it doesn't.
No, I don't know where all those years.
Because I think about that. I still watch the transformation of this building on the outside and how it transformed inside. It's amazing. So no, I love you taking your time here today to tell us a bit more about yourself and about. I love the fact that your family is woven. I mean, honestly, knowing you, your family is woven into everything.
We're all
I see you out to dinner, and it's always the family, which is awesome.
And you know, because we've always been in business together at the diner, so you got to learn when you're in business as a family to kind of the ups and downs, the good and bad.
I was about to say, so my son is actually starting in the business with me this summer, right?
Yeah.
My brother is doing it in Florida. My sister's in Florida. I'm going. I don't know if I'm going to survive. So, you know.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you a quick story that I think kind of helped me from my dad. So he's been in the restaurant business for over 55 years, you know, and he's been in business with family his whole life. Right. And there would be times you're working in the kitchen on a Sunday in the summer and it's hot and you're like dying of sweat and like, you know, emotions get high.
Of
you know,
course.
you might yell at each other because of something silly. And I remember one time my dad yelled at me for something like toast.
Right.
And, you know, we get home not too long after that and everything was like fine. And I was like, you just yelled at me. He goes, that was at work. When the second I walk in the door, I'm home. I'm not at work anymore. So anything that happened at work, it doesn't exist here. And I was like, okay, that's a good trick. And I try to take that to myself because it's easy as a business owner to take your work home with you and
talk about nothing but. Yes.
So that's something I've tried to do, and especially with family, it's like you might have a fight. The second you go home, it's done. You'll talk about it when you go to the diner again or the wherever again, and then figure it out. But when you're home, you're home.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. I'll thank you for the advice.
Yes,
I'm
you're
going to try
welcome.
that. I'm sure it's going to come in handy.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Alexandra.
Of course.
It's a pleasure. So we're here again at the Cake Boutique with Alexandra Benas.
Yes.
I'm Nancy Kwolek, your South Jersey's Main Street real estate agent. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for coming. Please make it a great day.
Yeah.